What's going on? My name is KO, and today I'm going to be doing a Skeet feature overview for you. So there's no notes or anything for this video, so if it's drawn out and long, I apologize, but there's a lot of stuff to go through. Okay, so activation type right here. This is actually for all hotkeys in this cheat in the menu. You right click it, it gives different options. So you could have on hotkeys. So for example, if you're holding the hotkey, you can have toggle or off hotkey. For visuals, it'll 9 times out of 10 just be always on. And yeah, okay, there's that. Here's a checkbox for teammate ESP if you want teammates rendered on ESP. For example, playing Warzone, you need that on. Here's a checkbox for dormant ESP. Skeet's dormant ESP is great. Here's bounding box. So Skeet's bounding box is not that customizable. There's no like corner bounding box or anything like that. There might be Luas for it. I'm not too sure. Here, obviously, so there's a few things about Skeet color pickers. So right down here, the sliders, the opacity slider, and there's obviously the color slider. And so the thing is about Skeet's color pickers, which I wish every cheat had. It's amazing. You can right click the little color sample, click copy, and it'll copy the value of that color, and you could paste it into other areas. So example, if you want your bounding box to match your name color, they're already the same, but I'll just copy, paste. Amazing feature. So Skeet's health bar is nothing fancy at all. Can't really customize it without Luas. There's Luas for changing the color and the style of it, obviously, but default, it just is what it is. And there's name ESP, flags. So right now HK means helmet Kevlar. There's flags for like fake ducking, reloading, that type of stuff. Weapon text, it'll say what weapon they have underneath them. Pretty gross. You can't change the color of it or anything like that. So weapon icon looks much better. You change the color, you change the opacity, and yeah. So yeah, and there's ammo. It'll draw how much ammo is in their current weapon. Obviously, they do not have weapons. They're holding knives, but it does what it does. Distance, pretty fucking stupid. Draws how far away they are from you. 10 feet, 20 feet. That's that. Okay, where was I? And glow ESP is glow ESP. Transparency slider. Change the effect of the glow, so it looks pretty gross. Turn that down. Okay, let's say I wanted this to match. Copy, paste, and then I turn this down. Cool. Hit marker. It just draws a hit marker on screen when you hit a target. I mean, that's that. Hit marker sound. This is the classic arena switch. Skeet hit marker. Everyone's heard of it. Yep. There's that. Visualize aimbot. This is a great feature for HVH for the rage bot. It'll show where the rage bot is aiming. So before you peek someone that is able to be shot, it'll show where you are going to aim. It's the same thing for visualize aimbot safe point. So for example, if you're using prefer safe point, you'll see where this renders, and when you peek, it'll most likely shoot there. It's a cool feature. Okay, visualize sound. This is the standard rings underneath people's feet when they make a sound. Line of sight. This is gross. It shows where people are looking. Obviously, they're all looking at me, so it's a clusterfuck. And money. This renders how much money they have. Pretty dumb, but there it is. Skeleton ESP. Obviously, you can change opacity, the color, all that stuff. Oof arrows, as some people call it, out of FOV arrows. Same thing. Change the color, opacity, all that. So here's the size of the arrows. You can see it right over here. And here's how far it is from the center of the screen. So if I turn that up, it'll be further away from the center of the screen. If I turn it down, it's going to be closer. And here's where we get into the player chams. So this is the classic enemy player chams. The same thing, same color picker. Here's a player behind wall, also known as the XQZ chams. And here is the cham materials. There's default, solid, shaded, metallic, glow, bubble, and original. I usually use default on my legit configs because, it's just the most visible, it's the most clear, it's easy to see. It's easy to see the different hitboxes in the chams. I also do like the glow though. The glow is pretty nice. And here is the second overlay color for the chams. You can change that. So you change the opacity by moving it up and down in the color picker. You don't change it down here. And then there's also solid. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. And then there's shaded. I do believe, yes. So the second attachment color does affect it. All right. And then there's metallic chams, metallic in 2021. Imagine. Actually kind of nice though that you can just change the opacity of the metallic part. Pretty cool. And then there's bubble. And there's original. This is fucking gross. So here's the teammate cham options. The same exact thing as before. And here's the local player ones. So I have third person binded over there. We'll get over there in a minute. Yep, there it is. Same materials, same everything. And then there's local player fake. So this is for when you are desyncing. It will draw another model that shows where your desync is on the server side, whatever. Yeah, pretty useful. And here's an on-shot option. This actually just got added to the cheat not long ago. It's great. So if a player shoots, you can see that on-shot record in the specified cham materials and stuff like that. Here's how long it takes to fade away. Pretty cool. And here's chams for ragdolls. So if I was to turn that on, kill someone, it draws the chams on the ragdolls. Okay, so hands, they're just basic hand ESP. Same options, same materials. Same for view model. This is actually just weapon chams. Weapons. So this is actually for, so if I was to turn local player chams on, you can see right here, weapon color, it'll change. So then disable model occlusion, it just makes things a bit more clear, gets rid of some bullshit. Shadow is actually backtrack records. So first of all, let me turn off local player because it looks gross. So if I make these guys move, you can see that there's the backtrack records. You can't change the material of that, but you can change the opacity. And here obviously is prop color and opacity. Change that. Okay, now we get over to other ESP. The radar is actually great. It's an actual in-game radar. It's not an overlay like some cheats, which is fucking gross. So here's dropped weapons I have on right now. Icon, glow, distance. So if I was to drop this AK, bam. So grenades, that makes it so when a grenade is in air, it has glow, so you can see it in air, and through walls and shit like that. Inaccuracy overlay, this is just pretty much for your spread. Pretty dumb. I hope no one uses this. But the thing about this, the recoil overlay, which is great for legit cheating, obviously, is based off of this color right here, the inaccuracy overlay color. So even if you have it off, for example, if I turn it to red, bam. So crosshair, that's for example, sniper. Typically you don't have a crosshair, boom, you have a crosshair. It's just your in-game crosshair, just renders it. Bomb, this is bomb glow, so if a bomb's dropped or whatever, there it is. Grenade trajectory, it's pretty much just the nade prediction. You can change the color of the line. It's not anything fancy. There's, no stylized landing spot to it or anything. There might be Lewis for it. I'm not too sure. So you could change the color of where it hits, and then you can also change the color of the line, obviously. So if I want that white, there you go. Grenade proximity warning is actually great. I hate when cheats do not have this for HVH. So what it is it shows when a nade is being primed, it shows where it will land and how much damage it will do to you. So for example, if someone is throwing a nade at you, it's going to land right here. It'll draw a little circle. It'll say how much damage it'll do to you. And that circle will be where it will land. And it'll give you time to move away so it does less damage. It's great. To give an example of that, make sure that grenade proximity warning is on. Oh, frames. Anyways, there's that. I normally don't have FPS issues. It's just because I've been in this lobby for a while. So yeah, just ignore that. Spectators. This is just a standard spectator list. This one is pretty ugly. There's Luas for better looking ones. This one literally is just default text. Can't change color, can't position, any of that. It's just gross. Don't use it. Penetration reticle. It's just a dot that turns green when you shoot through something. Red when you can't. Yeah, there's that. Pretty fucking stupid. There's hostage ESP. And here's feature indicators. So, for example, and you're going to use double tap, you have double tap held, force save point, all that type of shit, freestanding. I actually use Luas for that look far better, personally. Shared ESP, you already know what that is. If you have that on and someone is rendered for you, but not another Skeet user, it will render that person for them as well. So if they're not networking sound to the other Skeet user, they typically would not be rendered. But since they are for you, they will be rendered. There's shared ESP with other team. Pretty stupid. Restrict shared ESP updates. I imagine that's for people with bad internet connection. Upgrade tablet. That's for danger zone. Danger zone items. That's just item ESP for danger zone. Grenade timer. You have a bar text. You already saw that when I threw the Molotov. I'll throw the smoke this time so my frames don't disappear. There's a timer below it, that little white thing going down. C4 timer. Pretty sure this is one of the Luas I have. It's when someone plants C4, it's a little circle, kind of similar to the proximity warning. I mean, it looks nice. Display equipment on scoreboard. It's also very nice. So when you press the scoreboard, for example, by my name, it shows I have an AWP, I have a deagle, and my nades. So this is the grenade and movement helper, which is great. I love Skeet's nade and movement helper. So there's smoke helper, flashbang helper, alt-of helper, all that type of stuff, location area. So it'll show you one ways and all that shit. And right now I have it on the legit setting. So this is the FOV of it's pretty much aimbot for the nade spot. This is FOV for it. And this is the smoothness for it. It's filtered. So for example, it does not render the spots 24/7. It only renders, like for example, if you have a smoke grenade out, it will render smoke grenade spots, which is really nice. If you have this on, it'll render the spots for that smoke, for the smoke grenade you're holding behind walls. If you have it off, it won't, obviously. So for effects, remove flashbang effect. You already know what that is. Remove smoke, remove fog, remove skybox, just makes the skybox black. Visual recoil adjustment. So when you're moving, well, not when you're moving, when you're shooting, it'll move the recoil animation. Let's see. So there you go. It removes the shake from side to side. This removes it won't move up or down. So wall transparency, pretty self-explanatory. Props, same thing. Brightness adjustment. You have night mode and full bright, and this is actually tint based, so you can make it fit with your visuals, with your cham options and stuff. I usually just use like a standard gray. The opacity slider, yet again, does nothing. You change the color by moving this up and down. Okay, so let me show the colors actually. So yeah, there's that. Remove scope overlay. Everyone knows what that is. So if I turn that on, bam. Disable post-processing. This gets rid of some junk on your screen, makes things more visible, more clear. There's third person for when you're live. I already have it binded. It's on toggle. It's on my C key. And here's forced third person for when you're dead. So for example, if you're HVHing, you're in an HVH server, you're gonna want this on. Disable rendering of teammates. It just makes it so your teammates do not render. Literally makes them invisible. Disable rendering of ragdolls. Makes the ragdolls invisible. So if I turn that on, I go shoot a boom. Alright, bullet tracers are bullet tracers. If you shoot, it'll show a line of where that bullet went. There's that. The default ones are pretty gross. There's bullet beam tracers that look way nicer with a lot of options. I don't use them personally, but there you are. Local player tracer, yeah. So, and there's also enemy tracers. So there's filters for them. To force aspect ratio, and this is actually a Lua. Makes it so you could play stretched without being in full screen, for example. Great Lua, 10 out of 10. Custom scope lines, so I'll show you what this does actually. So my scope lines right here, I already have removed scope on, so you can't see all that shit. Now if I turn on custom scope lines, they look like that. So here's the length of them, I can change that. Here's the gap, I can change that. Here's the fade feeds. Yeah, so if I turn that way down, slowly fades out. Kind of cool. You change the color, the opacity, everything like that. You know, pretty standard. Okay, and that is all for visuals.